Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of An Author's Kiss right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest repeating back here with us is Lynne Cockrum-Murphy. We originated a show 4 years ago called Living Hope, Steps to Believing, Leaving Suffering Behind. And she has a new book that we're going to be talking about today, but we're going to be talking about all of her books, actually, because all of them have something that's really, really relevant to where we are right now. It's about awakening and releasing and self-validating and finding our true self. And never is there a more apropos time as now. She says, where is the light in the world? We are the light in the world that we've been waiting for. And most certainly, we are looking at the times right now where we are being shaken up, we are being woken up, we're asked to step up, we're asked to change it up. It's a time to reflect, to review, to renew, and it's not the dictation of what tomorrow, it's more the anticipation on the exploration of what tomorrow brings. But what it's screaming at us globally is raise your consciousness, please. And so that's where we're at, isn't it, love? And it's quite a lesson we're learning at the moment, isn't it?
And it's a lesson that we cannot avoid.
No.
You know, it's all around us, and it's changed our lives. And I suggest that we embrace it. Why fight it? Embrace it. Go with it and see what comes of it.
Yes. And I think it's when you look at an artist, they've maybe got known for a kind of certain art that reflected the times, but it showed kind of torture and anguish. And do we want to keep buying that art? This is the time for a new canvas. Where is the hope? Where is the kindness and the caring? Where is the love? Where is the joy in life? Where's the celebration? And, we've got so caught up, I think, in doom, that we've forgotten how to look at hope and joy. And I think this is the time to strip everything back and start anew.
I agree. And because we're losing so many people so rapidly, in numbers that we're just not used to, it seems like the doom can really be in your face.
Yeah.
That because we can't go out with our friends and do whatever we used to do, it really opens up a new era. And maybe it's more about self-reflection and contemplation and reevaluation. And I bring that up because we just had an experience. We were so bored, being at home. I've been pretty much at home since February. I had taken a trip to India, and then since then I was stuck at home. So we decided to go to Las Vegas for a weekend, which normally would be a wonderful thing. And instead, it was fine. But I came away with, I don't need to ever do that again.
Yes.
There's a famous Buddhist author named Jack Kornfield, and he called Las Vegas, the home of the hungry ghost. What that means is it's beings that want more, but their mouths are really little and their stomach's really huge, and they just can't get enough. And I just reflected on that a lot. You're being there and going, I don't need that. That is not the energy that I choose to have. And it used to be such a fun place. But, I'd rather go to the beach, or I'd rather go to the mountains.
I think we have a new appreciation for nature. I mean, look how Mother Earth is completely thrived right now without us, with us all being in lockdown. Ozone close, dolphins swimming in Venice. We're looking at animals coming out and saying, oh, very nice of you. Thank you for sharing. Instead of dominating. And of
Yes.
course, the moment that you kind of get phase 2 and then phase 3 of going back, everybody goes back to their old ways and totally screw you nature in a lot of ways. And it's like, no, mama nature, Mama Earth gave you a warning. And she's saying, if you don't pay attention to that warning, if you're going to be a spoilt little child and you're not willing to share, you're not willing to care, you're not willing to show kindness and consideration and compassion to one another, next time might be a delete button. So we're going to keep this virus around until you learn to be more respectful.
I just, I pray for those people who are slow to catch on.
Yeah.
That, the ones that take so much from the earth.
Yes.
And, may the light turn on for them.
May it.
Because it's in giving that we find joy, not in taking.
Right. Oh, gosh. Yes.
It's good to be able to receive.
Yes.
We want to be able to receive. And I bring that up because women, it's important that we be able to receive because we're just such givers. But we want that balance of loving the earth, appreciating it. And that's giving energy to the earth as we take our, our nutrition, etc.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we forget we're taking all the time. I think really we have become spoiled children. I want more instead of appreciating, and we know that a lot of this kind of came about from advertising rather in like the 70s and the 80s, is that more is better. The bigger house is better. The bigger car is better. And people started becoming slaves, literally, to working 100 hours a week just to maintain a lifestyle that they didn't even have time to enjoy. And, then people cottoned on and go, well, what am I working for? I'm on my 3rd divorce. I never see my kids. I'm just paying alimony. I hate my job. I have no time for myself. And they go, what am I living for? And they realize they're not living.
Yeah, you want to get that perspective while you're still young. Because I've heard over and over that on your deathbed, you don't wish that you had worked more, right?
Yes.
You wish that you had enjoyed life more, been with your family more. But you want to get that when you're 35, not when you're 95.
Yes. Or the cosmic 2x4, the heart attack, the stroke, the cancer, the this or that. And it's like, well, I've been trying to get your attention. You've not been listening. Are you listening now?
I love that analogy. I use that one too, that to get it the first time the message comes across, don't wait for the 2x4.
Yeah. And I'll admit I've had some 2x4s, and a lot of it was it fear of moving on? Was it, a lack of imagination as to where I was going? Or was it just I had become complacent in my own life and thought there was nothing else? And I think this is the time to kind of like, well, what is stopping me? What is stopping me from stepping up? What is stopping me from changing it up? And have I just got too comfortable in my own misery?
So I think that when we feel everything's the same within us, and that we have to change, we don't quite know how to get there or how to be comfortable with what's going on around us at this point in life, I think that's when you want a counselor or you want a healer or a spiritual teacher. And it's time to investigate who's the right one for you and who has classes or webinars that will help you shift. Because that's all it is shifting. You don't have to become somebody else. Just shift. And it can be incremental. Another thing I wanted to mention that I think is really valuable is our bodies tell us so much about what's under the surface. So if you look at, Louise Hay had the first book on it, about the meaning of different illnesses, and then Ina Siegel did a really good book on it. So if it's your shoulders, then very likely it's the weight of the world. If
Right.
it's your lower back, very likely it's concerned about money.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your ears, it's about what you don't want to hear.
La 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 la.
Yeah, your eyes is what you don't want to see,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. Hips having to do with standing on your own, moving forward. Your feet are the same things. So if you have things like that going on, it's really useful to look it up
Mm-hmm.
or ask a healer, what is this telling me? And then do something about it. Because you don't have to stay in discomfort. It's interesting how many things, just with awareness, they go away.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get the message, the problem goes away. But take the message and act on it.
Yes. Well, as you said, we are the solution that we seek. We are the love that we seek, and the thing is everybody goes, but, government, three fingers pointing back at you. Either you voted for them or you abstained from voting or you didn't stand up and held them accountable. And where is your accountability in your own life? Because what we're here to do is be responsible for our own choices. We cannot always choose what happens to us, but we can choose what we learn or how we react from it. And it is an invitation, I think, for everyone to step up in themselves, into their own heart space, into their own caring and kindness, and be that giver, be that contributor, because that will make you abundant, but it raises the energy and the frequency up around the world and changes the dial completely from where we've been into a whole new paradigm.
You mentioned something back a ways, and I wanted to comment on it. Let's see if I can recall what it was. No, nope.
It'll come.
It
It will
escapes
come.
me.
It will come.
It'll come back.
Responsibility. I think it's just a big word that we just want to buck or pass on.
Oh,
That's it.
thank you. It's the blaming.
Yes.
And pointing fingers.
Yes.
That's an attribute that's appropriate when you're a child because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so children can point fingers and not take responsibility. And part of maturing is they learn how to take responsibility, right? But we're adults.
It's supposed to be.
And blaming is inappropriate for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And looking at what is my part?
Mm-hmm.
What is my part in this? And no, I'm not responsible for the fact that, or taxes or whatever they are. But I can look at it with an open mind of I receive by paying my taxes. I receive roads, hospitals, et cetera, post office, et cetera, et cetera. There's a balance. They're not just taking, I'm getting in return. So instead of blaming, it's looking at a bigger picture. You know what I like that some people do is they ask people's opinion to gather more information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't appear to be angry about what's happening with so-and-so. Why is that? Find out their viewpoint, because maybe there's something in there that's beneficial for you.
Right. And the thing is, even by seeing it with somebody you disagree with, I had a show on last week, which was not one I would normally do. But I was compelled to do it. I don't know why, just needed to do it. And it was a very well-spoken young man. And his whole perspective was maybe, part of I totally agreed with what he was wanting to do, but maybe didn't agree with the way he was doing it. But others will. And of course, my job is to just lay it out there, let people decide for themselves. But it's always interesting if we're willing to hear what the other side is. How do they come to that conclusion? Are they seeing what we're seeing? Are they seeing what we're seeing? And it's a way of being able to gather all that information and 3D it. Look at it from all angles. And now you've got the whole picture. Now you can actually, make a judgment call and go, this is just not working. It's got to change. Do you all agree? Now, how are we going to do it? Because it takes all of us to insert our information in order to make a whole. but we seem to be walking along with blinkers on and just challenging, no, my way or the highway, that's it. And that kind of thinking is not going to let any growth happen at all.
No, a person like that is not going to grow. So our perspective, there was a wonderful book decades ago called Initiation. And in it, they talk about if your nose is right up against the cube, the thing that you're looking at, you can only see that it has one side. As you back away, you get perspective. Oh, look, there are two sides. And you may never be able to see the whole object from all sides, but you can increase your perspective by practicing, by distance, but also by practicing. And I think that is important, because when we think we're right, we are just, I am right.
Righteous.
That's a nice place to be. Very few of us are that brilliant and that finished. Most of us are going to keep growing until we're 95.
Yeah, if we're lucky. Have you read the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson? I've referred to it virtually in every show because I think it's extremely apropos right now. You know, the two men and the two mice around abundance of cheese, and it's their reaction to when the cheese is gone. And Sniffy and Scurry go and sniff out and scurry around looking for more cheese. And Hem and Ha, well, Ha is like, I just don't know what to do. You know, what do I do now? Until he realizes that, well, it's not here and it's not coming back. I guess I'm going to have to follow Sniffy and Scurry and go look for it. And Hem is, give me back my cheese. Who do I have to kill? Who do I have to sue? I am not going until you give me my cheese. And I think that's where we're at with a lot, you know, in this division right now. Some people say, give me back my old ways. Give me back my freedom, give me back this. And they don't realize this is just an adjustment period. Is it a change period? Everything changes. Everything needs to be in flow. And the more you argue against it, the more it's going to push back against you. So I find it very kind of, very apropos, this book at the present moment, of where we're at. And a lot of people are at the whole, the kind of, I don't know what to do. And I guess I'm just going to have to figure it out as I go. And then there's the innovators that are already ahead of us saying, hey, come on over here and try this. This is working. You know, this is a great opportunity. So it's what we're willing to see. And that a lot comes from our own True Colors perspective as well, of what our personality trait is as to how we're going to handle it. But we have to handle it, don't we? We can't avoid this. This isn't put your head in the sand and la, 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 and it's going to go away.
Well, you could do that for a while, but I don't think it'd be very satisfying.
Not going to get you very far.
I think it's awesome that today we have so much available.
Yes.
Internet.
Yes.
All the different podcasts. There's yours, but you know, Deepak Chopra has them. Panache Desai. There's so many.
A million, actually.
Huh?
A million.
A million.
A million.
More than we can watch.
I'm 1 in a million here.
So we don't have to stay the same.
No.
We don't have to stay with old comfort zones. And these teachers, these amazing teachers whose materials are out there, can help us, as I said earlier, shift in a reasonable way that's not too uncomfortable. The other thing I wanted to mention was using our intuition.
Yes.
Our intuition is such a powerful tool. And as I've worked with clients, I've found that everybody has it. Some people don't really call it much of anything. But I even remember my mother having intuition and never naming it.
Yeah.
Just saying things like, oh, honey, I think your cat will be home in just a day or two. You know, I think he got trapped in like somebody's garage. It's going to be okay. He'll be right back. And me thinking, I wonder why she thinks that. Okay. And 2 days later, you know, he comes home.
Yeah.
So we all have it. I think a lot of people are empaths also. The research says about 30% of the population. Wait. Yeah. So actually, that was one piece of research. I think there's actually, I would want to look that up again, but anyway, so many people have that within themselves, they have their answers.
It's called the knowingness.
Yeah, that knowing. And so it's a matter of like slowing down,
Yes.
pausing, being
Yes.
quiet for a little bit. Doesn't mean that you have to do, be a full-time every day, twice a day meditator.
Right. Right.
But if you sit for a few moments with your question or your concern, stay out of the emotion,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
your answers just kind of percolate up. It's beautiful how fast it happens. Um, it may not be fast for everyone. I was a meditator. Oh my God, I had turned that off. And I didn't turn it off correctly, apparently.
Yeah, no, mine may go. It's a new phone. I'm hoping I have turned it off. We will know.
So I had meditated regularly for decades, and now I don't, because that access is always there.
Yes.
So meditating is a great thing. And if it's your thing, awesome, keep up with it. But it's really nice to not have to dedicate as much time for that, except for, during COVID, it's a beautiful time for some meditation because it's so calming.
Yeah.
And it brings you back to that inner peace and to that connection with the totality of all that is.
Mm. The thing is, I think once you've got the meditation down, you know how to get into a meditative state anywhere, anytime. Me cross legs on the floor going home, I would need a crane to help me back up. Not my thing, But I literally look out on trees that are constantly blowing in the breeze, and that in itself is channeling and meditative for me. Being amongst nature, water is a wonderful conduit. Trees have a wonderful matrix that talk to each other, and they talk to us. And we may not understand the language in the brain, but our heart and our equilibrium most certainly does. And the frequency and the vibration and the rhythm of the earth and its own tonage and its own music is also speaking to us. And I actually, as an empath, can't walk barefoot on the earth. I just feel the pain too much. I feel the anger too much. So, when you talked about the weight of the shoulders, that's actually one of the things empaths have to deal with, is that we feel the weight of the world. And it's, sometimes we literally have to shut right down and shut everything out because it's hard to filter through. And I think a lot of people are even being woken up to that right now. What am I feeling? Where is this coming from? And, maybe you're just a little empathy is coming your way to understand, where the pain is and what we need to do about it. And that when you show it some love, a loving hug, just pouring some love on it, it helps heals it and helps heals you, and obviously heals the situation as well.
I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to go back to Vegas anymore, is
Yeah.
that energy
Yeah.
of wanting more and never being satisfied. It's
Right.
not a space that I want to be in. I loved what you said about trees, because trees do talk to us. And sitting quietly with a tree with your feet on a tree, it will share things with you.
Yes.
And it's usually old, deep wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
and not a lot of words. Yeah, it's very cool.
I remember a time actually walking my dog down an avenue of trees, and as I was going down there, was just like the shaking of the leaves. I said, "You're really loud today," and the leaves just stopped.
Oh,
I said, "Well, thank
awesome.
you. I can now hear you if you talk quietly."
Beautiful. You talked to them, they heard you.
Yes.
So I like that you brought up that love is the solution. So much of the healing work that I've done was using theta healing.
Mm-hmm.
And theta is a brainwave state, and from there you can do some amazing things. But I've also found that now, when I have, there's some spots in my hands that hurt. That was something that didn't happen 10 years ago, but it happens fairly often now. And all I do is put my other hand over it and send it love. I don't have to do any elaborate healing process. I just send it love and it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
May come back 2 days later, then it goes away. So love is really powerful. I was having trouble with my right hip, and that's the exact same thing I did. Was I sent love to it instead of doing the type of healing work that I've done in the past. Send it love, and now rarely does anything ever come up with it. It's like that's kind of above and beyond everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, love is an incredible frequency. It's a 580, 600 hertz, and it is an equilibrium. It raises literally the vibration and the frequency within you. And when you're in that love state, you can't knowingly do any harm to anyone or anything, even yourself, because love is about kindness and compassion and caring. And it is about wanting to help people, including yourself. It's also a wonderful place of like a deep breath and a sense of peace in that love. And it's so trusting.
Yeah, just sitting, kind of feeling that space and going, oh yeah, you need some words. You're on a show. Because that place is so appealing. It's so quiet.
Yes.
I wanted to mention that the first book, Living Hope, that you mentioned, I didn't realize it's been that many years.
Yes, 4 years now.
It's been that many years.
Yeah.
And it really talked about my history and my experience and how I chose to come out of a life with a lot of trauma when I was young, and an alcoholic family, to choose a spiritual life and let that heal me and give me the amazing life that I have now. So that book it's a fun one to start with. It does make some people cry.
Tears are good. They're a release. They're really good to have.
And when if a person is crying when they're reading something like that, it's because they're relating to it.
Yeah.
Very often it's because they have similar pain.
Yeah.
And that's what's coming up. The next one I did was Unfolding the Mystery of Self. We're Never Alone.
Got too much light on it, love. Let's just
sorry.
change. That's okay.
There we go. This one is about spiritual development. And I talk about a lot of mystical things in it because I decided it was okay to share my experiences, and I didn't have to keep it a secret.
We can't keep this secret anymore. It has to be told. People have to know what's going on inside of them. You're giving them permission to realize what's happening with them. If we go cloak and dagger with it, then they're always going to be trapped into it. When we speak about it openly, it's giving them permission to embrace what's happening to them.
Well, and that's why I had said we're the light the world's waiting for. And we're also called the Way Showers, this first group, also called Rainbow Children. But we're the Way Showers. And then as the others come in, it's like the doors open and it's a little easier for them. It reminds me of how you were mentioning breath and the power of breath. And just think of all the breath techniques that we have now. And that's because yoga came to the United States back with Yogananda back in the 30s and with a few other teachers, and how it changed things for us. You can take yoga at the Y. You can take power yoga.
Solar yoga and all sorts of yoga nowadays.
Yeah. And there's so much benefit in all that. So the door's open, all this information's coming in. And I love my role in it. And then choosing always to continue to grow.
Yes.
So there's no, if I'm not in God consciousness and growing, then I don't need to be here.
But that's why you are here, is to be growing in God's consciousness, is to be understanding the mystical, the mythical, the vibration, the frequency, the reason. What is your instrument? Where is your orchestra? This is what life as a human being is all about. We can't embrace our beautiful soul spirit on its own until we've experienced it through the physical and the appreciation of what the physical brings to it. And, I'll openly admit, I have fought being a human being, because I'm a spiritual being and have had a lot of difficulty with humans and the way they treat each other. And it's taken a lot of work on my side to kind of embrace the physical side and the gift that humanity, being a human, the touch, the taste, the hold, the dance with, you know, the joy that we can have as that. But we're here to have this experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we must experience it. And we can't rest on our laurels, because until we cross over and exit the vessel, we are here to experience right to the very end.
We're considered the fortunate ones because we get to be here.
Yes.
And do this when there are so many in spirit that wish to be here,
yes.
but it's not their time yet.
Yeah.
And so I love that perspective that we are fortunate and we get to be the ones that are here right now. Because I know when I was younger, and that's partly why I wrote that book, I didn't appreciate life. I wanted out.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted out. And
why you want me to stay here?
Yeah, with all the spiritual work I did, that passed.
Mm.
And now it's more like going with the flow. Also, you know, often being in joy, but going with the flow, because things like COVID are kind of big. And you know, it can take your mood and downgrade it. So I find joy isn't as easy right now, but peace is.
Yes. Yes.
Stop looking outside, start, you know, looking inside again, and voila, there's the peace again.
But which is joyful.
Well,
we find joy in peace because we can look at that butterfly and find joy in it. You know, the hummingbird, the dog wagging its tail going for a walk, a little kid's smile, instead of going, oh, that's cute. And we can really immerse ourselves into it. God, look how beautiful that is. And I look at the animal kingdom right now and how they're teaching us human to be more humane. And, you know, our children, you know, our indigo children, and how wise they are. And they're teaching us, it's not about your intellect. It's not about your academic brilliance. It's about your soul, heart, and spirit's intellect, letting your mind know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. This is just data, but the heart and soul and spirit will show you how to use that data. And children instinctively, intuitively do. And it's kind of bringing us back to where we should be, as we were as children and where we should be, back into that beautiful fluidity of going with the flow and the knowingness.
And many parents are not squashing that light out of their kids as fast as it used to be.
Yes.
Or as often as it used to be. The parenting is done differently than it was, and it's very cool.
Very.
Kids get to be that uniqueness that they are, that we need. It's very cool.
And, you know, technology's done a lot of that, hasn't it? Because it's made the world more accessible. And, you know, I've just got this new phone and I'm going to have to go back and have them help me download a few apps because I can't get them. And somebody commented on Facebook, yeah, give it to a 5-year-old. They'll do it for you. Because they just seem to be using their matrix of their brain and the way they deduce patterning and everything else so much more simply. And why is that? They're young, they're seeing it, they're doing it. We've got so much deprogramming to do, because we're looking at it from the old education, right? And that's how we're tackling it. And that's not going to work because it doesn't belong to the old.
We were watching some old movies the other night and looking at, they had a cell phone. No, they had what you call it, a handset. But it was this big, you know, talking into it. And how much things have changed.
Yes.
And that even in our lifetime, originally, we didn't have handsets. You had the whole phone, and you couldn't go any further than the cord.
Right.
So to know that you can have a phone conversation through your computer
or your phone.
Yeah,
right.
Or in the backyard.
That you can make a movie with it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it does mean letting go of old beliefs and limitations. Yes. And yet that's kind of our mission right now.
Yes, it is.
Let go of the old and embrace the new. And limiting beliefs is one of the bits of work that I do as a theta healer, because we have so many.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that. It's a newfangled thing. This is too much for me. And all that kind of thinking. I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm too old. All that kind of thinking can be changed.
Yes.
We have so many examples of people who aren't living by those limitations. So we can shift with the skill of a healer to let go of them. I don't have to stay there.
And technology helps us. You know, if you told me 8 years ago when I started podcasting that I would have my own network, I'd be doing all my own editing, that I'd be building sites, that I'll be doing this and that, it would be, you are kidding. There is no way I could do that. But I had somebody behind me saying, yes, you can. You know, I'm going to show you how you do it. And if I wanted this, if I wanted my own platform, I was going to have to learn how to do it. And, you know, through necessity, I've learned how to do it. And now I just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. And if I have to learn something else, it might take me a little while. You know, watch a video, do something. Once I've done it 2 or 3 times, that's it. It's set in. And it's not to be afraid of what we have to learn. Okay, it might be a little harder because our brains are still wired in a different way. But there are so many videos of tutorials and so many books and so many people out there that can help us, you know, learn something new. And they also say that as you're getting older, learning something new all the time keeps the frontal lobe going and, you know, prevents dementia.
I wonder if you would mind if I offered some downloads about this kind of thing to your audience. And they will just be energetically in the podcast.
Yes.
So that when the people hear them, when they watch this, all they have to do is say yes if they want them, and they'll be transmitted. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay, so the downloads would be, I know how to, and I do adjust easily to change. I enjoy technology, and I live without resistance to new technology. I'm open, and I study, and I learn and accept new technology easily. My intuition is opening on a regular basis. I enjoy it. I trust it. I can handle it. And I know how to be in the world full of change. Even when it's in drama, I'm in peace. My peace is everlasting. My peace is internal. My peace is eternal. And if you want these things, just say yes. And I will ask Creator to download them for you right now.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. It's done.
Thank you. We all need that right now. You know, even for the people who know this is what we need, or this is what we do, even, you know, the coaches, the counselors, the guiders, the teachers, the supporters, they need it too, in order, you know, to help them continue to do their work. And that's, you know, when you look in a circle with the hand on the shoulder and the hand on the shoulder in that circle, it is sharing that energy so that everybody can step up and be the best they are, but don't have to rely on doing it alone. So we all need that help. Thank you.
Welcome. You mentioned frequency several times. And I just want to mention about it that whatever your frequency, whatever your vibration, you can raise it. And it's so easy to do. It just takes a little bit of awareness. So you can look on the internet for lists. There are lists of things to do. All the things that you've talked about nature, raise our vibration. What we eat can raise or lower our vibration. That was the main reason I became a vegetarian in the first place. Well, 2 reasons. Vegetarian in the first place. One was because I wanted a higher vibration, and 2, I wanted to be a meditator, and it just helps. Don't eat meat. Also for raising vibration, being in the sun, getting fresh air, drinking plenty of water, and watching your thoughts.
Watching
we all thoughts.
Right.
Watch your thoughts.
Yes.
Because we all have those thoughts of, I can't believe you did that. Or I can't do this. Oh, here we go again. And replacing them with interesting, that person is really in a pattern and doing the same thing again. Okay. Or that's interesting. I wonder if that person's pattern bothers me because I have part of that in me. I'm just taking a contrary, positive contrary view on things and challenging yourself, doing thought replacements. And if you hear a one that comes up all the time, like, I don't have enough money for that. I could never afford that. Then that means you have some poverty consciousness.
Yes.
And again, work with someone to change that. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
You can change it to where money comes from all kinds of mysterious places. Money comes to me easily. Money shows up in my account. I always have some money. So
where there is the need, the money is there. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that is one I've had issues with. But I found out in my Akashi records that 50 lifetimes ago I signed a vow of poverty, and that although I have obliterated and blown up and deleted that programming, we have to remember that there are trillions of cells in our body, and each one of them has a memory of this lifetime, memory of past lifetimes, ancestral and DNA. And you know that you may go through a particular surface and think you've got rid of it, but then it's in a deeper surface and it may come up again, which means then just use the same process again on that. Don't let it come up to the surface and cripple you. Go, oh, all right, I thought I deleted you. Here we go again. Where's the verbiage? Where's the dialogue to get rid of that? And another one that I would add to helping frequency is sound, whether it's the gong or the bowls, the tonage, or just simply music. You know, when I get into needing rejuvenating, I'll go the headphones and I listen to music, and it's not any particular music. It's just music that I know frequently is resetting me. It's feeding me. And then I feel calmer and better and more imbalanced afterwards.
Yeah, sound really is a powerful tool, and something people other than music didn't seem to be that aware of in the past. But now we have the bowls, etc. And I use music when I'm writing because it helps me stay in that flow. Yeah, I want to mention the Journey with Matthew series.
That's right.
Journey with Matthew series is my first book. Well, the book one, the first book of fiction. And this is a story of a young man who notices that his friend Matthew has these gifts and that amazing things happen just and so easily. So if Matthew needs to be in the right place at the right time, he will be. Daniel notices this and is like, I want that. And so he studies Matthew and is changed. One of the changes is that Daniel goes from having traditional religious beliefs and teachings because that's what he was taught and he never questioned them.
Right.
After hanging with Matthew more and more, he's like, there's a bigger God that you have. He's not just a rule-giving God. There's some love here. I want that. And you see Daniel transform. It's really beautiful into his own awakening. And so the book one is called Awakening. A Journey with Matthew, Awakening. And book two is coming out in October. It's also a Journey with Matthew. It's book two. And I think that it is more like living your awakening.
Yeah.
It is, it's mostly written. I'm in the editing phase now. And thinking maybe, because this book has just a little bit of drama in it, and the next one, you know, so peace, light, and love.
Right. So
I want to add some drama in just for interest's sake. And then there's a third one coming, and it's about the feminine divine. So I don't, you know how writers often have an outline?
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah,
I sit down to write and I say...
An intuitive writer.
Yeah. God, tell me where to go with this and let it flow.
Right.
And then it still needs to be edited, but the message is there. That's the point.
That's,
Yeah.
and also, I did a show on this with that the self-help books and things like this. They're all very beneficial, etc., for people who like to have that kind of instruction. But more people will learn from a story, where they can relate. Well, that could be me, or I could do that, or I relate to that character in the book. And we learn more through storytelling than we do from manual, step 1, step 2, step 3. And I think that is very true as human beings. From the beginning of time around the campfire, we have been telling stories, and those stories that gets translated, and gets passed on, and it may, change obviously from one person to the other of how they're telling it, but we love a story, and that story is what moves us, what invites us, what inspires us. And I think doing this whole trilogy through, or is the third one going to be a trilogy, or that's more just to do with
No, it's
women?
the third in the series. It'll be a
Right.
journey with Matthew, but it's going to have the divine feminine as the focus.
Right. And the people always say, why do people do trilogies? The triangle. Because it's unbreakable, and it doesn't matter which side you look at it. It's always, that, and, that's why, trilogies are so, bringing an interest into a story. The second half of where they're going, and the third is kind of the ultimate, ending to the journey. And that's why trilogies, we receive better in a trilogy. So I like the fact that you are doing that as a trilogy, but somebody's self-discovery through being inspired by looking at how somebody else is living their life, and being invited to learn how to change within themselves. And it's so apropos to now. So I think people should go and get that first book right now and get it read, get ready for the second one, because that's what we're needing right now. The guidance we need is from the teachers that have learned through their own experience, and you're using your own experience, plus you are conduiting the inspiration and the innovation, and allowing it to come out in a flow in the story that needs to be told. Those are my kind of books.
Well, and thank you for saying that. Yeah, A Journey with Matthew, book 1, is available on Amazon. It's available through my website. And the other one will be out shortly. And that's why I'm here today, because I do want people to have time to read this one.
Right. Yes.
So that they'll be wanting the next one.
Yes.
And enjoying it. And it's interesting how I didn't set out to be a spiritual author, but there's that inner urging that you have to do something. You have to do something. Yeah. And that's where the books came from. Like, I have to write. What am I going to write? I don't know, but I have to do it. And then learning how to let the message flow through like that, it became very natural. And I will give credit to a writing coach from Sedona that I use, Tom Bird. Mm-hmm. He has a technique, and it works.
Yeah, I've been asked, Sarah, where's your book? You keep saying you're going to write it. And I thought during COVID, now it's time. I have been so busy with my podcast. There's been no time for anything, nothing at all. And I know for me that the best way will be for me to do the audiobook and let me just be a flow and then transcribe it, because that's where I'm in flow. I do my own shows every week, Sarah's View of Life, and very often I have no idea what I'm going to talk about until I press the button, or sometimes it's just one word out there, and then I just go into it, and it's kind of half an hour of what comes to me, and sometimes it might be gobbledygook, other times there's clarity, then I write it for the plot.
Well, isn't it interesting that we once considered it channeling?
Yes.
And now I consider it's just more of our full self.
Yes.
Our full awareness is coming through.
Yeah.
It's not channeled. It's my connection with the divine.
Right.
And that's what you're saying too.
Yes. Yes. You're just opening up. You're not preconceiving. Even if you do have a particular topic you want to talk about, that's the topic universe I want to talk about. And show me the way. What do I need to know? And then getting out of your own way, which is getting out of the head condition, and just allowing it to come through. You can, as you say, in the editing process, do what you need to do to make it readable for people. But my brother has a wonderful website called hackwriters.com, which he's had for 26 years now. And he is a master's degree literary author, and teacher. And when I started writing for him, he would want to rewrite it. And I said, no, don't do that. Let it be my voice. Commas and dots and, grammar and things like spelling, yes, do that, but don't change it. And he find it very irritating that people liked the way I wrote, because I was writing how I was speaking. And so they were hearing it as a conversation rather than a written piece. And we've got to honor that people are going to be drawn to different things for the way that they're open to receive. And right now, people want openness. That's why podcasting has become so popular. You come on and you can be open. There's no producer telling you can't say that. Your time is up in 2 seconds, and you haven't got that anymore. Come and be open, be vulnerable, share, because that's how people are going to learn. That's how people are going to adapt. That's how people are going to open themselves up and be willing. So I'm so happy you're writing these books.
Yeah, that genuine self.
Yes.
Watching these old movies recently, the genuineness was missing back then.
Yes.
It was very, very much
calculated.
How you look and what you say and what you don't say.
Right.
And it's not who we are anymore. It's so great that we can be genuine.
Yeah. Well, that's what got me into trouble all my life, because I was that, and it would be, you're a bit far out there, Sarah, or, I couldn't conform. I couldn't be what other people in this mold. And it'd be the more you try and restrain me, the more that I would fight to get out. And now I can just be me in my fluidity. But, back then, no. And so it was always a conflict for me. And now it's the freedom. It's a freedom.
Wonderful. Oh, yes. Embracing it. I want to mention that Journey with Matthew is now an audiobook.
Oh, wonderful.
They're just finishing it. They had checked with me recently on the pronunciation, because many of these words names are ancient. So the spelling of Matthew is not the way we spell it.
Right.
So they're ancient. Anyway, so that is coming, I'd like any day now. It should be finished this month.
Wonderful.
And that my website, Lynne Cockrum-Murphy.com.
Can you spell that for people who are just listening audio?
Sure. Lynne is Lynne. And then Cockrum is COCARUM Murphy, MURPHY.com. And you'll see in it that the books are available through the website, but you'll also see my services and my programs like Embracing Change, which is the one that starts in August. It just runs for 3 months, and it's to help all of us adjust and thrive no matter what's going on in the world.
But isn't that what we're invited to do right now? We're looking at, if there's, let's just take a household and you realize, what? This house has just got to be a chaotic mess. There is so much here I don't need anymore. Those colors do not reflect where we're at. We've got too much clutter. Let's clean everything up. Let's repaint it. Let's only keep what we really need. Let somebody else have the opportunity to enjoy, the furniture, the this and that we don't need anymore. And let us renew and bask in that renewal of simplicity, honesty, authenticity, and love. And, that's what we're asked to do right now, sprinkling.
I know I certainly have. Early on, I went through and I just took stuff out of every room. But it was partly because I'd done that trip in India, and I came home a different person because it was a 3-week pilgrimage in the temples. So I had to clear out and get rid of the stuff that didn't match me anymore. And so we had a yard sale. And it was great because it was at the beginning of COVID, so we gave distance, but nobody took it quite as seriously as we do right now. So we had that refreshing. And then I painted furniture, we painted walls, we put in new lighting. Yes, that refreshing is so good for us. And it's something to do in this time besides our reflection and contemplation.
Right. And it gives you a space, a space of fresh and renew. And then it will be, well, hang on, do I match this renewal? Now it's time to spring clean inside. There's a crazy ad of this eccentric couple, and they go, "What's wrong here?" And it's like, "Oh, the furniture doesn't reflect our clothing." So they go and buy new furniture. It's obviously for a furniture shop. And it's really quite funny, because it's from Lyon, so they call it Lyons. Um, but we have to look. I mean, I can't wear the same clothes I wore 5 or 6 years ago. I just don't feel comfortable in them. I don't reflect those anymore. And, I'm about to move. My furniture's been in storage for 3 years, and I'm about to move half of it into where I'm in now. And it would be nice to have it around me, but it's in a new setting, and it will take on a new purpose. And I think that's the thing. What is your new purpose? What is your purpose here on earth? It's self-discovery of what your beautiful instrument is, learning how to play it, and joining the orchestra of life.
Well said.
Mm-hmm.
And with furniture, we can cleanse their energy of what was,
Yes.
which is really important if you're bringing in used furniture or something that you got from your family. You cleanse that energy and then you download it with purpose, just like you were saying, so that it is a match for you, what you want in your home.
I have a lot of antiques, and people, well, it's just old stuff. And I said, no, for me, it is the history, 100 years, 200 years. It may be slightly beaten now, and I look at it, and I respect the fact that it's still around, and I appreciate what it is, what it does for me. But it's also all the stories that it kind of tells, subliminally. So I love antiques. I love the character.
Well made.
Yes, that's another good reason to have them. They last the test of time. Try anything else new. Within 5 years, it's all falling to pieces.
Generally.
Yeah. I think that's also, that's a good point there, is we have also been taught in the last 40 years, you have to not repair, not recycle, but renew, or I had to just upgrade to a new phone. And I could have continued on with my old phone, except for the battery was just not charging up anymore. Oh. And they make it into a point where when the battery goes, you can't replace the battery, so you have to replace the phone. So, we are so wasteful, and we've become so complacent. Instead of valuing something and say, let's repair it, right? Let's repair it. Let's recycle it. Absolutely. Let somebody else have the pleasure of it. And be appreciative of what we do have, because all of these things have energetic signatures of their own. And when we appreciate them, they will serve us better.
Well, living in gratitude creates a vibration that attracts more and is quite beautiful. It's a higher vibration. Yeah. So whether we're in appreciation for our phones, or the fact that we have eggs in the refrigerator and can have that for breakfast.
Right.
Just the little things.
The coffee. We've got the coffee in the morning.
The morning coffee, yes.
And the appreciation, the fact that even though we may be in lockdown and we can't see people, that we have this wonderful technology that allows us to reach out. During the thick of the COVID, every week we would play games. We would play code games, and have you ever tried playing Pictionary with a mouse? It's really hilarious.
I don't think I could do that.
But there'd be 5 or 6 or 2 families on there playing, and would team up. And although we weren't in the same room, we were in the same space.
Sure.
And we had a great time. So, thank goodness that this global pandemic has happened in a time where we have the ability to reach out to each other.
Yes, thank God we have this. Otherwise, I might actually get lonely.
You're right. I have a wonderful woman that I've interviewed a couple of times called Esther Schifrin, and she was as a child, captured by the Japanese and was a war camp, and then a refugee in Jerusalem. They married a South African and was in a rural place, and she realizes that all her life has been really about the isolation or about the imprisonment. And she's a concert pianist, she's an artist, she's just amazing, 82, still dancing, she's fantastic. But what she's been doing every single day of COVID is writing a poem. And they're on Facebook, Esther Schiff, and I really recommend reading her poems. And they're always so inspirational. And they're always addressing kind of how we feel in the moment. And it just is kind of a wonderful thing to read for the day and go, yeah, I feel like that too. But she never writes it down. It's always to lift us up. And so what can we do? What can we do this to reach out to our friends or to our family or to our social media where we can lift people up? Post some pictures, a song or something, words of encouragement. Every little counts, doesn't it?
That's why I get on Instagram. I do Instagram live several times a week just to share a thought that hopefully will be beneficial. And I like to keep them short, like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to inspire and not to bog them down. There are plenty of ones that are 45 minutes.
Yes.
Just to inspire a little bit. I was also thinking, I didn't mention that one of the things besides my Embracing Change program is people can do a VIP day with me online. So we do it through Zoom. And instead of spending our 3 or 4 hours of sitting and doing the work, we'll do it this way with breaks. And the only part that's missing is, going out to lunch or going and walking the labyrinth.
Right.
But you can still have a VIP day, which is an amazing thing.
And you can still have lunch together online, a glass of wine or lunch, it's just that you're on the other side of the table, so to speak.
That's right. Yes. Still sharing.
Yeah.
So an amazing amount of change can happen in a VIP day because you get to release, and get your downloads. And like you were talking about, those old beliefs that poverty, vows, and contracts and agreements. So big ones to clear. Yeah. And they make a huge difference in your life.
Yes. So. I mean, I've already kind of cleared that a lot where I can already see a change, but I know that it's still there because it keeps raising its head. And I go, well, you again? I thought I got rid of you. And so, but we've got to realize that like there's trillions and trillions of cells in our body and they all have memories. And, there's these memories, if it's 50 lifetimes that I had this for, then that's very much entrenched in that DNA. And so it's not just a reprogramming from the head level. You've got to go through all of the cellular level and it will come up and it needs to be happened again until you get to the point where it is no more.
Well, it's like you said, it's genetic, but it's also the ancestors.
Right.
It's the history level because of the past lives. And then, however, it's been reinforced in this life.
Yes.
So, multiple levels to remove.
Yeah, and it was really enforced in this life. So, it's not just past lives I'm dealing with. In this life, it was definitely, I consider myself very enriched and abundant. And it's just, the money has to catch up with that. And it will when the time is right. And I'm ready and open and ready to receive. But, and I'm always perceived as rich.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And people have always thought that I am a rich person, literally rich person. And no, I haven't been. But I'm glad that I don't portray the thing of poverty. But it's also what is poverty. And I think as a spiritual person, the issue around money, I know I need it. And I know exactly what I'll do with it if I had a lot of it, most certainly. But it's always is that the emphasis is on our own enrichment, our own abundance, that e-commerce doesn't have anything to do with. So, I know that I've still got to bring that dialogue in. Money, come on, I've got work for you to do. There's a lot of work for us to do together, so come and join it.
You're right, though. You have the energy of wealth. You were saying that. I could see this bubble of energy around you. You exude that. So there's a part of you that already knows the truth.
Yes.
You have it all.
Yeah, there's just something that hasn't caught up yet.
There's probably a remnant of that belief to remove. You talked about, we talked about all those levels.
Yes.
And I'll work with you and we'll pull it and make it permanent. Let's make it permanent.
Oh no, I delete means gone, never to be seen again, and it hasn't got that message.
Yeah.
So, yes,
we can do that.
Wonderful. Because as I said, I've got a lot of work for money to do. Because I do look at money as a tool. You know, we have, as a human society, revered money as a power. And that has been our downfall, because we put money up on the pedestal and everything we did was to have more money, and it made us poorer in ourselves. And I think that switch to where is the enrichment of your life, that money can't buy it. Now, money can certainly generate and support and be used, because gosh, we do need it as human beings, but I'm not going to worship money as a god. I'm going to use it as the tool that it is. And that's, I think, the thinking that people also need to have. Yes, you need money in order to survive, but don't look upon money as the be all and the end all. Where is your own enrichment?
Yeah, it is a tool. It's an energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very useful.
Very
you can
useful.
change things in the world with it.
Yes.
We can have fun with it,
Yeah.
but it's not meant to control us.
Right.
We're energy light beings.
Yes.
You know? Just having this physical body for today. So yeah, keeping the correct perspective.
Yeah. And you know, how many people do we revere? You know, the Gandhi and Sister Teresa and a few other people that, you know, were Jesus, complete vow of poverty, right? You know, there wasn't, money was never their enrichment, but look how they enriched lives. And
Jesus was so evolved,
yeah,
that he could create meals,
yes,
without money.
Right.
That's where we want to go.
Right.
And the vows of poverty had a place at one time, just like sacrifice had a place. And yet I feel in this time period, it's inappropriate, because we are capable of so much more.
Right.
We know that we know how to change karma.
Yes.
You don't have to live through the process of releasing karma. We know how to change it.
Right.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yes. I mean, we can be all we are meant to be if we allow ourselves to take the journey. And that comes from being inspired by someone who's done it before. And you've taken all your own knowledge and the knowledge of everything else that you've experienced and put it in a storytelling of somebody being inspired by somebody's vibration, somebody's frequency, of who they are as a being, and wanting to emulate it. And the thing is, it's not about becoming that person. It's about emulating that person within you, igniting what you respect out of that person within you, because you also are that awesome person. You've just got to let them out.
That reminds me of Daniel and Matthew in the books. Daniel sees that in Matthew. He says, oh, I want that. And he's able to evolve and awaken and make miracles himself.
And we are all capable of that.
That's right.
If we
are willing. That's why it's in the story.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why the story is so apropos and needed right now. So really the emphasis, please folks, get the first book, Meet Matthew. Find out what we're talking about here, because you know you want something more. You know you are something more. You know that this old system and paradigm of what we should be and who we're ordered to be and what is expected of us is not working. It's time to clear the slate, start anew, and go, this is the time to go in and self-discover myself and all that I have to give, all that I have to be. And then let the journey take me where I'm meant to go. And we can't do that if we're not willing. And we need the guidance. And you've written the guidance in a book, in a storytelling. And it's a trilogy that people are going to have that can take them on to the next phase and the next phase, until they finally kind of look at and say, I am that person. That person is me. And that's where we want everyone to get to.
Thank you so much. You really put it very well. And you get the essence of what the point is.
Right. Message. And we need it. I keep saying that. I know, keep saying to me, you need it, you need it. We need it as a humanity right now. We do, we need that guidance. There are so many people realizing that change is needed. I've stepped up. I know I need to change it up, but I don't know how. And they may be not manual people, or they may be not people that can go through programs, but the books will be the journey for them. Or even reading the book, then coming to you and saying, this is what the book did for me. I'm ready now for your guidance to help me in discovering me. whichever way it comes.
This transformation that we're talking about, we're not alone in doing so.
No.
So, if someone reads one of the books and gets an idea, all you have to do is say to your angels, your guides, the masters and teachers that are around us all the time, our ancestors, and to God, show me, guide me, help me take that next step. Show me what's most important here. Which thing can I do today? And ask, because they're over there on the other side going, we're waiting, we're waiting. And then when you ask, they are so joyful. They're so excited because they get to do what they're there for.
Right. Yeah.
Just waiting.
Yeah. I'm willing and I'm able. And I think this, the reason why I do these shows is because it's about people who are willing to go through the process, find their strength, find their courage, willing to explore, willing to release, willing to accept the person that they are meant to be with the gift that they are meant to use in this earth. But none of that can be found if you're not willing to go through a process of, of that self-discovery. And when you come out the other side, no matter what took you there, whether it flattened you and you had to scrape yourself off of the floor, or whether it was an easy transition, you are going to be so grateful of who you are today and what you're here to do. You're going to understand what life was all about and why you're here.
It's really true. It's totally worth it.
Totally worth it. The waters are wonderful. Come on in. So it is Lynne Cockrum-Murphy.com. Go and get the book, please. You've got time to read it. Once you've read it, form a book club. This is a great thing, to form a book club with the book and then share your perspectives about it. I related to this. I related to that. This spoke to me. I was stuck on that. What did you think about it? And open up and get that 3D perspective of what the book has meant to each one of you. And then read the second book and the third, and allow it to guide you on your way, and be there for support for one another. In the book club, be there as support for one another, and how beautiful that would be, because we are talking about unity and coming together. So why not come together as a book club and read this book?
Book clubs online now.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to go meet at someone's house where somebody says, oh God, I've got to clean the house and I've got to get snacks. No, you can just do it this way, pajamas on the bottom, pajamas on the top if you want. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Lynne. It's wonderful having you back here again. Always an inspiration. I can't wait to read the books. And please, folks, I love the idea of a book club, or sharing it in the family. The whole family reading it and then having a conversation of where you're at. So you haven't just got one person moving on. Everybody is tapping into this energy at the same time. It's just not meant to be only a solo book. It's meant to be a book that everybody can get into and rise together.
Well, and yeah, your point for the whole family, because there's nothing in it you would want your children to read.
Right.
It's all good stuff.
And you'll also find that your children, having read it, will come back to you with some wisdom that will blow your mind.
It's true.
Right? So,
Yeah,
and go say, oh, you finally get it, Mum and Dad. So, this is a wonderful invitation for everyone to read and just go with it and learn from the story. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Finding yourself in the story. That's the reason why we watch stories, read stories. We want to be in the story. Who are you in this story? Read it, find out. Thanks, Lynne.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, it's wonderful having you back. So you can also, on the show page, I just simply put in Lynne Cockrum-Murphy in the search, and both of her shows will come up. I invite you to go back and listen to her other show as well. There's always so much warm wisdom coming from her that's going to help you on your journey of life. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.